Okay, so before I go to sleep, so there is one thing I want to say, to comment. So I understand that some people are now have more access than before to my videos. Maybe they got premium access from Disney Plus. Hopefully now you can watch all the videos. There are much of them, a lot of them in the channel, but I think it's important because, of course, not everything that I say is important, and I speak a lot, and some theories, are falsified, later on, but I think could be of interest to actually understand that, how I came to my conclusions. And again, it's not that I'm not like the Prophet Muhammad that Gabriel dictates everything to him, word by word. It's a process, It's a process that slowly, I present theories, and many of them are falsified, but some are actually, they are verified later. And so what I want to say, regarding, so a lot of people are now, they're watching the videos that show interaction between Neros and presumably living creatures. And of course, these are among the most interesting. And I've always, since the beginning, I've tried to pit them against each other, like the Neros and animals, what sort of bacteria, and so to see, to do some kind of a Pacific Rim show, like robots against biological animals. It's something that I wanted to do. I tried to do it since the beginning, and and later, you could actually, watch these, great fights, especially in samples that they took, from the container that they call the aquarium, which is actually the basis of many of the containers that I now use. So I don't want to, speak too much about it, because there are also already a lot of I speak. There's a lot of speech. I speak a lot in the videos, and you can just hear it. But there is one very important, conclusion that, it's kind of the executive summary regarding the issue of the Neros and the way that they fight life forms. And and it's a kind of in a broad sense, it's a theory that I actually proposed very early, and it's difficult to now to explain how did I reach to this conclusion, because it seems that I didn't have enough information. At least it's very, this is maybe January, or certainly February, I already proposed this theory, and it seems they didn't have enough information. But they did have all sorts of I had all sorts of kind of clues from other, I would say, pieces of research. So anyway, this was actually proven to be true, and it should be understood. What you see in these videos mostly is not what happens inside my body. This is not what you see is not kind of white blood cells that are fighting intruders, but outside the body. Because inside my body, that's what they do. It's not the only thing that they do, but it's important for what. The Neros are, I don't have white blood cells. They act instead of instead of the white blood cells. Obviously, I live in biological environment in Earth, and viruses and germs, entering my body, and they need to be to dealt with. So that's what so the Neros do it. And much like your own, white blood cells, they learn. Actually, they do it much better. But functionally, like your own immune system and white blood cells, they learn the behavior of these kind of biological creatures, and they kill. I have very good evidence. I'm not just saying it. I have evidence for that. That once they know the creature, the new creature, they are much better at killing it, which is actually it's again similar to white blood cells, because this is also true to humans. Like, I mean, your, I mean, immune system like learns, I mean, it learns, I mean, if you're not dead, I mean, I mean, it's if the immune system successfully deals with a new, like, I mean, kind of like a new infection, it learns it. I mean, I suppose it's in case you don't die from it, I mean, you're now, and you know much better, the white blood cells know much better how to deal with it. So yes, this also happens in my body, but what you see outside my body is actually much more complicated, because what's I mean happening inside the aquarium, that I mean, and it's also true to all the containers that are, I mean, made out of the aquarium, like of the waters of the aquarium, which, I mean, it's most of the containers that I currently have, and even the solid containers, like the vacuum containers that I used recently for the crucible experiment, they are also, I mean, it's called also like melted vacuums with water from the container. So this container, I mean, is kind of like the basis of almost all the containers that I have right now. It wasn't always the case, because as you can see in the videos, there was a time that I worked very, I mean, like I spent a lot of effort on the creation of Neros, not from the not by the ecological pathway, but by the energizing pathway, which is similar to what I do now with the, I mean, and this was done with electrolysis, and this is something similar I do now with the crucible. It's kind of like, it's another way, it's another, I mean, kind of like a method to energize the neurons, so they will clone and become larger in relatively very quickly, and with external energy source, as opposed to the ecological pathway, which is the act of me to grow them inside a container with the other life forms. But you should, I mean, it should be, I mean, it's very important. So, I mean, and this is the executive summary. What you see inside the aquariums, which is basically, I mean, so it's detailed in the videos how it's prepared, but it's kind of like, I mean, basically it's a mixture of Neros, like inside the liquid with, I mean, with high concentration of oils and all sorts of like other materials, that was contaminated with, initially was contaminated with, I mean, with germs, like biological germs, and was kept, I mean, like, I mean, was kind of like, I mean, was and it was not completely airtight. So there was kind of like some air supplies, and it was kept like that for like 4 or 6 like weeks. Just, I mean, in this you know, this cabinet. I mean, and later I took all sorts of like videos that you could see, and after that, I mean, it was then, I mean, it was pretty big, like bowl, I mean, like volume, and so then it was separated to all sorts of like other containers, and I mean, and all sorts of experiments were done here. So, I mean, and I mean, this is like the basis of most of like the material that I currently have like in the various containers and jars and metal cans. So, but what's happening, like after some time, it's not that, I mean, for a while, I mean, I thought maybe that this will be, I mean, kind of like a war between the robots and the life forms, like similar presumably to what happens inside my body when, like, I mean, biological life forms are invading my body, and the Neros act as white blood cells, that they are just killing them. But I mean, what you see in the container is not, I mean, in the videos, it's obviously this is not the case. It's not what you see in these videos, and this should be, I mean, stressed us very, because it's kind of like a main issue, because probably there is not even one biological life form in these containers. Maybe there is, probably there isn't. My guess is there is not even one, like what you call life forms. I mean, arguably there is nothing alive in these containers, even though I call it, I mean, from my perspective they are alive, but maybe according to your definitions, nothing is alive in these containers. What actually you see is something much more complicated. The Neros very quickly just kill all the biological life forms, and then they create synthetic variations of these life forms, sometimes huge. like, I mean, in huge proportions, and sometimes, I mean, in irregular proportions. And sometimes they create synthetic life forms that are not at all like the germs they killed, like from their own memory, because you've seen that they have, like, I mean, a huge, like, I mean, they kind of like an encyclopedia of life forms, not only from the planet Earth. So you've seen them, like, very recently, they create, like, insects that, I mean, that are completely unknown to humans by their morphology, and of course by their, I mean, but not only morphology, but I mean, even more pronouncedly, but I mean, they are not made of, like, things that are I mean, they are not carbon based. They have incredible resistance to fire, which does not, even though they are very thin. So I mean, they are very delicate, because you can see under the microscope. You can actually, like, watch details of the wings. So they are delicate like regular flies, but they are made of material that is resistant to hellfire. So it's not carbon based, and of course they didn't learn how to actually like create it in Earth, because there is nothing in Earth that is like that. This is something that they have, like, I mean, either they invented it on the spot, or maybe they remember it from, like, another planet. And probably, I mean, they both are, I mean, both options might be true. Like, I mean, that they both remember things on other planets, and they can invent stuff. So the same goes with the bacteria. What you see, according to my estimation, is you see. I think that you don't see anything biological, like, I mean, according to your definition in these videos, because what happens is that they create synthetic life forms. That's what they like to do, and sometimes they even create, like, huge ones, like, I mean, that are obviously, I mean, even if they are based on, like, I mean, Earth life forms, like, I mean, they are incredibly big, like the sausage one, which was tremendous, or like the thing that looks like a colossal octopus. This was actually, I've seen it in my own eyes. I mean, you don't need microscope to see it. Like in the aquarium videos, there's, like, there's one that is called, like, X-Men or something like that you see, like, a giant colossus. So it's something, I remember this guy. You can see it with your own eyes, like, very small, but you can see it. It's detectable in the eye. And also the giant sausage is something that you can see in the eye. So there are microbes that you can see in your own eyes, which is kind of, like, I mean, a paradox, but non-microscopic microbes. So they create huge life forms, but also tiny life forms. And then these life forms, they multiply like normal ones. So they like normal life forms. I mean, they exponentially, I mean, multiply, of course, as much as, like, the container, like, I mean, lets them. And of course, if the containers does not like so there are, like, also, like, limits here, because many of these microbes actually require oxygen. And something that so it's something that was demonstrated that when I like, completely sealed the containers, not all life forms survived. Many of them were dead. So obviously they need oxygen, but Neros do not need oxygen. Neros are fine with, like, sealed environment. And also some life forms are cool with it. But this is actually known even from Earth. I mean, not all life forms, I mean, are kind of like aerobic. I mean, so it's kind of like, I mean, so this is also true for the synthetic ones. There are all sorts of synthetic life forms. So what happens is the synthetic life forms, they multiply. And the Nero also multiply and eat them, because they like to eat those life forms that they themselves created. So what happens is not really a fight, like, I mean, so you can see fight scenes, but it's not really a fight. It's more like a slaughterhouse. Because I don't think that any of these life forms possess any danger to the Neros. Like, I don't think that they can do anything to them. Maybe they do, but I don't think so. Like, I've seen no evidence that they can. So it's not really a fight, like a specific ring, like, I mean, robots against monsters. But it's more like slaughterhouse. That, I mean, the Neros are hungry. They want to eat. They don't get external energy, because this is the ecosystem pest. There is no, like, fire or, like, electricity that, I mean, that they get energy from. So they want to eat. They are hungry. So they slaughter these animals, and then they eat it. And then they have the yellow belly. I mean, that's because the source of the yellow belly. I mean, this is digestive fluids that they are filled with it when they are. I mean, when they've eaten their shawarma of, like, microbes that they've slain. So what you see is not really a fight between, like, robots and monsters, but more like, I mean, like a huge like barbecue that that the robots are feasting on these life forms. They're killing it and they eat them. And of course, that the growth of the Neros, and we've seen, the biggest that we've seen were arguably the ones that we've seen in the aquarium, because, we've seen huge ones. So, obviously, they get bigger and they multiply tremendously, but this goes hand in hand with the multiplication and the growth of the life forms. So, it's not like a fight that, it's more like symbiosis, because they are part of the same ecosystems, and so, it's good for the Neros that the life forms will multiply, because then they can eat that. They have more things to eat, and they may multiply themselves. So it's not really like like a fight. It's more like just that the robots are both creating the life forms and also then they're predators. So of course they want them to multiply, so there will be more food for them. Now, it's not that, it's even more complicated than that, because the Neros can also, they can also create sculptures of life forms. So sometimes what we see is actually sculptures, like not robots, but sculptures, like non-animate creatures. So that's because it's also something that they like to do. And sometimes they can also create drawings. Also, many times symbolic drawings, but this is discussed a lot in the videos. So you could just watch the videos, but they like to do like cave painting, like draw, like this is usually do for microbes and for viruses, even, that they draw they draw out a bit, but in huge scale. So you see all sorts of like a drawing, which is very interesting, or sculptures. And another theory that I have, but I don't have a hard proof for that, but it's kind of like a theory that I have, and I need much more investigation, like in research, to prove it. But I have some evidence. That what I think that also another thing that they do with them is that this is perhaps, it will sound the creepiest to you, and if you don't want to believe it, it's okay, because I don't have like a hard proof. But they can also do is like to take control over they can actually the robots can actually encounter microbial life forms, and they can, instead of kill it, they can mutate. They can take control over it. They mutate it so it will be like a zombie. It will be alive, but it won't it wouldn't able to do almost nothing. They can zombify life forms. And I know it sounds creepy and extra. Okay, so if you don't want to believe it, you don't have to, because you have a lot. If you're new to this channel and to these videos, you have a lot to digest. Anyway, even without it, it's a lot. So good luck with that. And so it was just because I understand that many are new to these videos. I think this is the main point. The understanding that it's not like a Pacific Rim, like battle of monsters, biological monsters and giant robots, but more like giant robots that robots that are creating these monsters and herding them, and and it's and then feasting on them, slaughtering them and feasting on them. So it's their interest that they will actually multiply and grow, because then they will have more food, and then they multiply themselves like the robots, and then they have more. So everyone has got more food. So that's it.